house on Wyrmwood Hill. They told Clara the house on Wyrmwood Hill was cursed, but she didn't believe in curses. She was a pragmatic historian, not a superstitious child. When she inherited the manor from her great uncle Alaric, a man long thought dead, but officially only missing, she viewed it as an opportunity to escape the noise of the city and finish her book. The house stood like a slumbering beast atop the hill, surrounded by twisted trees and an ever-present mist that refused to lift even under the noon sun. Inside, it was filled with relics of the past. Old oil paintings that watched her like sentries, dusty furniture draped in white sheets, and clocks that all seemed to tick in unison, except none were wound. On her first night, as she lit a candle and opened a book by the fireplace, the silence was shattered by the faint sound of footsteps on the second floor, measured, deliberate, and far too slow to be anything living. Clara tried to rationalize the sound. Perhaps an animal had gotten in, or the old wooden structure was simply settling. Yet, when she climbed the staircase with a flashlight in hand, every step creaked, as if mimicking the ones she'd heard moments before. The hallway above was frigid, her breath visible despite the fireplace burning downstairs. At the end of the corridor, the door to the master bedroom, Alaric's room, was ajar. She pushed it open to find it untouched by time. His journal sat on the desk, ink still wet, as if he had left only minutes earlier. But it wasn't the journal that unsettled her. It was the mirror. A tall, arched piece with a black frame etched with cryptic runes. It reflected the room accurately, except for Clara. Her reflection wasn't her own. It was a gaunt, hollow-eyed version of herself, mouthing words she couldn't hear. When she turned away in horror, she felt a cold hand on her shoulder. But when she spun around, the room was empty. Days blurred together as Clara found herself increasingly drawn to the mirror. Each night, her reflection grew more lifelike, more independent. It began moving on its own, mimicking her actions with just a half-second delay, until eventually, it no longer followed her movements at all. Instead, it stared back with an accusatory glare and mouthed a name, Alaric. She began having dreams, vivid and violent, of being trapped in the house, as flames licked the walls and shadows whispered in dead languages. The journal offered cryptic clues, entries describing the veil thinning, entities feeding on memory, and the great exchange. Clara soon realized she was not alone. Objects moved subtly. Cold drafts followed her like a breath down her neck, and always, just at the edge of her vision, she saw him, her great uncle, standing still, mouth open in silent scream, eyes hollow and bleeding black. The manor was consuming her, rewriting her memory, stealing her identity. Sometimes she forgot where she was. Sometimes she forgot her own name. On the 7th night, the clock struck midnight, all of them, at once, and Clara stood before the mirror, drawn to it like a puppet on invisible strings. Her reflection smiled first, lifting its hand before she did. "It's time," it whispered out loud this time. The sound came not from the mirror, but from her own mouth, and yet she hadn't spoken. The glass began to ripple like water, and a blackened hand emerged, followed by another. Her reflection was climbing out. Frozen in place, Clara watched as the thing stepped into her world, now fully solid, identical to her in every way except its eyes burned with an unnatural hunger. The real Clara tried to scream, but her voice was gone. With a final, cruel smile, the doppelganger touched her forehead. Light flashed. Darkness swallowed her. The villagers say no one lives at Wyrmwood Hill, yet lights flicker in the windows at night. Visitors speak of seeing a woman in the mirror who doesn't match their reflection. Some say Clara still exists, but on the other side of the glass, trapped, screaming silently. And each time someone stares too long into the old mirror, she inches closer, praying someone foolish enough will take her place.